Hey everybody, happy Friday! I am on 1 minute early as per the usual, just making sure the connection looks good, which I think it does. There is construction going on below me or right outside, plus some loud music, so I apologize ahead if you guys hear anything crazy today. All right, I'm just gonna put in the comments my guest today so anyone joining can see. I am so excited to interview Lisa of We Are Women Owned today. I'm sure she'll be on in just a moment. I hope you've all had a really, really good week for our business. I just did a site visit yesterday because we're planning a couple weddings coming up soon, which is super exciting. So we have one tomorrow. So I'm getting ready for that, getting all psyched up. Right, we got a couple people. Yay, Lisa's here. My husband is here. Okay, let's get Lisa in. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Chat a bit. Is that a little
You
better?
look gorgeous, as per the usual.
Thank you, thank you.
How's your Friday so far? Oh, I lost you for a second. Can people see me? It might be my internet, to be honest. Oh, if you can see and hear me, please give a thumbs up or like or something. Let me know. Is anyone else having trouble with Lisa's connection, or is it just me? Let's try to get this sorted out. Okay, Lisa left. Okay. She'll be back, I am sure. My internet has been crazy, and we had a big storm hurricane thing come through, so there are a bunch of power lines and stuff down, so I'm not shocked that we're having a few little issues here today, so we'll just get her back in here. I hope hi, there you are.
It's my bad. There was another, so I was adjusting my cell phone. It's been one of those weeks, everybody. And I accidentally went into someone else's live. And then I was trying to get back in and it wasn't working. But we're here. We're here.
We are here. Success. I was just saying, with all the down power lines and all the internet stuff, I'm not surprised that we have issues anyway. Things are insane right now. So
it's true. It's true. There was a full moon a couple days ago. So
yes,
maybe something's going on with that.
Probably. There's always a reason. Oh, well, thank you so much for being here with me today, Lisa. I'm so excited. So I'm just going to start by giving a little background on what this is for anybody who might be joining for the first time. And then I'll introduce you, and then we can have an awesome chat about everything that's going on, it's going to be super fun. It's going to be fun to chat in a different way, out to people versus just between ourselves.
One-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Erin, and I am the co-founder and manager of the Metropolitan Players, which is a wedding band collective based here in New York City. And I run that with my husband, Drew. We've had it for just over 7 years. Our 7th birthday was in May. And I am in these, communities of artists, gig workers, freelancers, and a bunch of small business owners like Lisa. And when the pandemic hit, I was just, super excited to chat with people who were kind of dealing with what was going on, and just I saw people posting about what they were doing, but was these people need to tell everybody, I want to create a platform. So that's where Freelancer Live was born. And so I've interviewed actors and singers and small business owners, and it's just been really, really fun. And I'm super excited to chat with Lisa today. So I'll read her bio in just a second, but one of the things that I have found is one of my biggest passions, aside from our business, is female founders and helping female founders. And so Lisa, her company is We Are Women Owned, which I'll talk about shortly in a sec, but she holds these in-person pop-ups. I think you had done like 15 in person,
15.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Up to last year, which is incredible. And she, you know, posted a little ad on her Facebook and was like, I need help with our holiday pop-up. And I answered because I was like, I really want to work with Lisa. I just need to get to know her like on a deeper level. And we just clicked. Like, not only did we work super well together, but we just became fast friends. And so we've been sort of working together for the past several months. And I've been helping kind of behind the scenes with a lot of what We Are Women Owned is doing. And it's just been a pleasure to work with Lisa because she's amazing.
You're amazing. We need to have a call where we just like shower you with love because you're incredible.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's what this one's going to be for you because I am going to continue to shower you with love. And so how this works, I mean, if you have questions for Lisa or for myself, add them in the comments. Let us know. If you want to send some love, give us some hearts, give us some raised hands, like whatever you want to do. We're happy to receive all of that. Okay, so let me introduce formally Lisa. So Lisa Nicole Rosado is the founder, creative director, and chief motivator at We Are Women Owned, which is the go-to platform to shop, discover, and support women-owned. We Are Women Owned also creates opportunities for women-owned businesses to gain visibility. After a decade as a retail buyer in New York City, Lisa founded the lifestyle blog, The Style Theory, and an online boutique called The Style Theory Collective. And she partnered with brands like Birchbox, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Spanx. So through We Are Women Owned, Lisa offers one-on-one mentorship, group masterminds for women in the creative, lifestyle, retail, and now service space.
All the spaces.
All spaces. Yes. And she hosts 4 Women by Women pop-up events throughout New York City and now virtually, which is super exciting. And she also manages the new We Are Women Owned Sisterhood private membership community, which is very, very spanking new this year. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so happy. So why don't you go ahead and kind of share a little bit more. Of course, I've mentioned what you've done, but share a little bit more of like how you got to where you are today. Like, what has your journey looked like?
It's been a long journey. It's so funny because when I first introduce myself to people and they're like, tell me, like, how did you get here? And it's so hard to give them the short version because it really maybe everybody feels this way, I don't know, but it all stems from my childhood up until now. And it would make so much sense. Like if you heard the whole story, you'd be like, oh, this makes so much sense that she ended up here. But a lot of people are like, you've lived out several lives. And I'm like, yeah, probably like 7 at this point.
Yeah.
But, you know, growing up, it was interesting. You know, I had my set of challenges, being one of 3 girls, but my older sister's 14 years older than me. And then my younger sister, she's just 5 years younger than me, but she's mentally and physically disabled. So I always craved sisterhood, even though I had sisters. And because of that unique dynamic, I never quite had it. And because I grew up with, you know, a sibling who has special needs, I was already very shy and introverted, but that I think definitely increased or heightened the introversion. Yeah. So I had a really hard time letting people into my life. So the sisterhood aspect of things like totally makes sense now. It's, I just never want anyone to feel alone or like unsupported or like they don't have a place to turn to feel seen, heard, and unconditionally supported. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like that piece of the puzzle. But growing up, I always wanted to perform, as introverted as I was. Went to college and I went to Pace University in Manhattan, and I told my parents I was going to major in international business management. And that was my intention. But I also knew that they had a great acting program. And since it was something I always wanted to do, but my parents were never crazy about the idea, I took a couple of acting classes, one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I fell in love and pursued it as my major. Yeah. And while I was in college, I needed a job. So I started working in retail. I'd always had, you know, a love and an appreciation for fashion. Very quickly learned I'm not the corporate type. So I
Yeah.
started working for boutiques and really loved it. And you have a lot of responsibilities. So not only was I managing, I was buying, I was merchandising, I was organizing events and doing the marketing in terms of like newsletter and social media promotion.
A lot.
It was a great learning experience and definitely hands-on. And then through that started the blog because I worked crazy hours. It was all the shops I worked at were tiny and required me. That was like my life essentially.
Yeah.
So started the blog as a way to hopefully connect with people. I feel like I've always been on this quest to find my tribe. And very quickly felt like, okay, this isn't it for me, but I have met some great people throughout that still, they're my friends to this day, and they come to our events and support our vendors, which is really exciting. And even some of the PR companies, like they'll send me some women-owned businesses and I'll keep them in the loop, or we've been reached out to. We never have a panel when it happens when they reach out to me, but the PR companies will say, hey, we have like these awesome women-owned businesses and these founders, are you having a panel or something? So it's interesting to see how everything every step of the way has kind of come full circle. Even with the acting, I know that I would never have dared start my business and be the face of my business had I not gone through that training.
So true.
So there's a lot to the puzzle. But in launching my own online shop, it was incredibly lonely and incredibly isolating. It kept me home all the time because I was fulfilling, all the orders from home. So it was hard to step away. And I thought I knew a lot, and there was so much I didn't know. And I felt like I didn't know who to turn to. And I think because I grew up with a lot of strong, independent women in my life, I've just never felt comfortable, being completely vulnerable and open with men. So my dad's a business owner, very different business, by the way, but I felt really uncomfortable seeking advice from him. And I would just daydream about having a community of women entrepreneurs that I could turn to and they could turn to me, and we could all like brainstorm and share our knowledge and resources and our network with each other. So that paired with being an online business and realizing the importance of getting your brand out there, I decided to start hosting these in-person events. And it was completely innocent the first time. Like I was like, I just need to get my product out there so that people can touch, feel, see, try on, get to know more about the brand and the person behind it, and grab 3 other, entrepreneur friends that I had recently made. And we did like a teeny tiny pop-up in Hoboken. And then 2 months later, we grew to 17 vendors, and we were in Manhattan. And we've kind of stayed in Manhattan since then, with the exception of our pop-up in Boston last fall. But that's really the short story, even though it wasn't that short. And it's been really beautiful to see how the community is thriving, and especially during the pandemic, because that was something, we were a bit concerned about. We're like, okay, this is how we generate revenue, our in-person events. What is that going to look like for us moving forward? But it's been awesome to see us all come together, even you doing these lives, and you featured a couple of women from our community. It's just nice to see the opportunities that we can create for ourselves and each other. So it's been real.
It's been real. So kind of speaking about how things have changed. I mean, of course, I know every little piece of what's been going on. So Lisa and I have 2 calls a week. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we hop on a call for an hour and do a mix of like actually getting stuff done and just like brainstorming what to do next and like how to navigate whatever is happening in the world. And so we had first been meeting in person at the beginning of this year, and we're talking about like, what does this year look like? What's going to come up? When are in-person pop-ups going to be? And like, trying to figure out exactly who to partner with and all of that fun stuff and where to hold the space. And then all of a sudden, of course, in March, everything shut down, and our conversations shifted from let's figure out what this year looks like in person to how the heck are we going to move everything online? And there were so many ideas, Lisa, that I know you had ahead of time that you had always like imagined doing. And this kind of opened up the doors to actually make those things happen, like the membership community and the virtual pop-up. So why don't you talk about a little more about how that shift kind of happened and what you've been doing now with We Are Women Owned since the in-person events have been totally shut down.
Similar to the first in-person event that I did, I didn't think our first virtual pop-up would really become anything.
Yeah.
So that's something that I knew even when I had the style theory, my blog, I knew I wanted to create like a women-owned directory or incorporate more women-owned brands into my shop. That's something I definitely knew I wanted to do. But then we evolved into We Are Women Owned, and I'm so glad. Like, I'm obsessed. I love all the women. I love what we're doing, and I can't wait for us to do more. And that's definitely been my focus. But yeah, I envisioned us, I knew like I wanted to do something with like a shop element online. Mm-hmm. I just never knew how it could look, because initially I was like, okay, we can stock these brands. I don't want to have stock anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like so overstocked. I don't want to hold inventory.
No more inventory.
No more inventory. I don't feel 100% comfortable with drop ship because I would panic, like, oh, are they shipping things in a timely manner? How do we handle returns if people are buying from a bunch of different brands? I just had so many concerns. What if the inventory is not correct on their end? So It's always been something that's been, jumbling around in my head. I just didn't know what it would look like. And so when the pandemic hit, I just wanted to help the community. Like I feel like that's what it always comes down to. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I know how we were impacted. And I was like, we'll figure it out, but like, how do we help the community? And we had been talking about it for a few days. And finally, that happens to us a lot. We were like, we have these ideas, we're bouncing them around. And then finally, I'm like, why don't we just ask the community if they would find value in this? And we did. And everybody was like, yes, 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 yes. Like, how can I sign up like right now? And so we didn't charge much at all to start. It was kind of, again, we just wanted to help out the community. And now looking back on it, it was kind of like an experiment for us to see like how this could work. And if there's interest, is this something that we want to pursue and make it a part of our business model? And essentially what it's become is a shoppable directory. So we're not featuring specific product that you purchase from our site. It's these brands listed on our website. So we have like 3 product images from their site. It's the listing, like the description, right? The brand name, the founder with a little image there. And there's a shop now button. So when you click that, it depends on the business. So if it's product based, it'll say shop now. If it's service based, it'll say view services. And if it's a nonprofit, which, by the way, if anyone has a nonprofit out there, it's free to participate in our virtual pop-ups. So definitely let us know. And then for nonprofits, it'll say donate, but it'll redirect to their website. So we don't handle any of the shipping, any of the orders, none of that, which takes a lot of work out of it for us and relieves a lot of my concerns. But what we do promise is, opportunities for them to gain visibility within their business. And that's been a big shift for us as well. Like that's always been an important component to what we do. But since we've grown our online platform and our community and our audience, I figured, why are we not using that? We do, but like really leaning into using our platforms and utilizing our community and our audience to help these smaller women-owned businesses gain more visibility. So that's kind of how we're treating everything right now. So,
and I want to hear a little bit more about, if you don't mind sharing, sort of course, like at the very beginning, the pandemic was the reason we were like, let's do this virtual pop-up. And then after the murder of George Floyd, there was a huge resurgence in the Black Lives Matter movement. And I know for you, diversity within We Are Women Owned has always been like top of mind, extremely important to you. Tell us a little bit about the thought process of like what you did during that time and the thoughts that were going through your brain to like actually like do something about supporting Black owned businesses.
Yeah, so it's something that we don't outwardly talk about very much, but it's since day one of We Are Women Owned, that's something. I am Latina, I grew up in the Bronx, and, a lot of us were, Latin or Black. And so I know what goes on, sadly. And it's always been something that's important to me. So when the movement kind of resurfaced, I was not in a good headspace, and I was like embarrassed to even say that. I was like, how dare I, feel this way? But I couldn't get out of bed. And I was just thinking about, not only, is there the violence, the violent aspect of it, right? But there was also, like, I knew that the Black community had been much more affected by COVID than any other community. Now it's, after that it's the Latin community, the Hispanic community. So not only were they, a lot of them getting sick and losing their family members, etc., but we also, in doing research, recognized that 40% of all small businesses that were forced to close during the pandemic were Black-owned businesses. I'm getting chills talking about this.
I literally just got chills too.
Yeah.
Like at the same moment, I'm like, oh, it like hurts your heart to know that.
It's just like one thing after another. And I just couldn't sit here and not do anything about it. Not that we have like this huge team behind us, but I said, hey, we've already did this one virtual pop-up. Like we have a little system in place. Like we're still figuring this out, but it already exists, like the back end of our website is built for this. And this is what I can do for the Black women-owned community of small business owners. And so after a few days, I was thinking about it on and off because I had a friend basically, I knew it was coming from not a negative place, but she did just kind of challenge me and say, basically, like, Black people aren't looking for a handout. And so I had a moment where I wanted to do the pop-up. I was like, I'm going to do it no matter what. But then after having that conversation, I took a pause and I thought about, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be seen as like a savior or anything like that. But after thinking about it for a few days, I'm like, but this is how I can contribute. Like, I'm not in the position right now to make huge donations, but this is what I can do. And so I'm going to do it. And it was such an awesome experience, as you know. Yeah. I probably cried a lot the first week and just had the biggest smile on my face, like, because it was the first time we had asked for images of the founder to incorporate in the listings and also like on social media for a promotion, and just seeing all of their gorgeous faces and putting faces to names even, because I had been in touch with people for a couple of years, for like a year, and I had no idea what they looked like. But it was incredible to see how much people appreciated the opportunity, because after having that conversation with a friend, I was concerned. I was like, are we going to get backlash for this?
Right.
Although we've always been as inclusive as possible, like I had concerns. But again, I was like, I just felt it in my heart, like this is the right thing to do. And just the support that we received as a community, right? As we had over 200 Black-owned businesses on our website. And it was completely free for them to participate. And people were sharing like crazy. We had never seen the numbers that we have seen like on social media, and shares, visits to our website. And I wasn't even concerned about that in like the slightest bit. So it was
almost surprising, right? When it happened, we're like, wait a second, where's this coming from?
It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. Yeah. But it was really beautiful to see how our entire community kind of came together to support one another and to really get it out there as much as possible. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I remember feeling the same way. And it was just so exciting to see the founders behind the business and like how, that's what you do. You share these businesses. That's your platform. You do these pop-ups. So being able to use the platform that you already had to further support these businesses was just like, the best thing that you could do to show your support at the time, which I think was incredible. And what I also love since then, I'd love for you to share sort of how, even in the current pop-up, if people want to continue to support Black-owned businesses, how they can do that. And then what's coming up for a future pop-up in the fall.
So many things. So what we decided to do, thanks to your brother, actually, that's why one of the reasons why you're so awesome. She's talking about We Are Women Owned even on her days off with her family. That's how you know she's just as passionate as I am.
You're so
Because
sweet.
I can't shut up about We Are Women Owned. It's like all I ever think about and talk about. But what we decided to do after getting some feedback from your brother was, you know, it would be nice to see in the future, like what businesses are Black owned, Latina owned, LGBTQ plus owned. And so now if you go on our website for our summer virtual pop-up, what we decided to do, I'm calling them badges because I can't think of like anything else
What
to
else?
call them, or
Fair enough.
banners, or I'm not sure. But if you look at the listings, the brands that are Black owned and Latina owned, we didn't have any that selected on their application that we accepted that were LGBTQ plus owned, but definitely all are welcome. All female identifying businesses, you know, all female identifying owned businesses. Is that right?
I think.
are welcome to join. And even if like one of the founders is male, just as long as one person is female identifying. And I think that's something we need to put out there a little bit more moving forward. So you'll see these banners on the images within their listing that say Latina owned, Black owned. Some of them are both. But you can also search in the search bar for Black owned or Latina owned. And then it'll pull up all the businesses for you that are. And then for the fall, I didn't mention this earlier, I have wanted to host a Black owned, Latina owned event since We Are Women Owned, actually before We Are Women Owned came to fruition, when everything was under the style theory. The thing is with in-person events is they're very expensive to do, especially in New York City.
Yeah.
And I always envision the event for these communities being low cost or free to participate. So that's the only reason why I haven't been able to do it in person. But because we're virtual now, it's still very time consuming, very, very time consuming.
Yes.
But there's way less overhead. So for the fall, after seeing what happened with the Black women owned virtual pop-up, immediately I was like, Erin, we're doing a Latina owned pop-up for Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're doing that from September 15th through October 15th. And to participate, like entry level, will be complimentary. So I think next week we're gonna have to start accepting applications because September is right around the corner.
That's crazy.
And we want to give ourselves as much time as possible to get it going. That's another thing, is like we haven't had a lot of time to plan these, and they are very time consuming to put together, especially going from like, you know, communicating with 15 to maybe 25 vendors for an in-person event to now we're in the hundreds, you know, so it's a lot of back and forth and communication. Yes. But we are managing it to the best of our ability, and we're really excited to give back in these ways. And I'm hoping that it's something that we can continue to do every year, and hopefully find sponsors. Because that's another thing is, you know, we don't have a large team whatsoever. And doing the Black Women Owned pop-up was very time consuming. It was my entire month of June was completely devoted to that. So it would be nice to have more support
yes.
for the events where we are giving back to our community in that way. So fingers crossed for some sponsorships and partnerships and grants, because it's just the best being able to give back in this way.
Yeah. And if anyone knows of places, send them our way, please. Yeah. Because what's I think interesting and always a little difficult for a business like We Are Women Owned is that it's like a social enterprise. So it's built around doing good, but it's not a nonprofit. It's a for-profit business.
We're not a nonprofit.
So it's like, you know, towing that line between like, how do we give and give and give and help and help and help, while also like somehow bringing in some kind of income to like, you know, live as a business owner, because that's so important.
We talk about this at least once a week.
Yes, we do.
And I'm like, Erin, am I supposed to be a nonprofit? Always going back and forth. But we are a business, you know, and I think a lot of people, because we are, again, so mission driven, a lot of people forget that aspect of things. Like we're being just as impacted as, you know, any other small business out there right now. And that's something that I need to remind myself of sometimes as well.
Yes.
But we love what we do, and we love to support in whichever ways we can. So, you know, things are getting better. they're getting better. We just need to be a little more active in seeking out, monetary support, which, has always been a little uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But our community deserves it. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I every time, like, it's 2:29. Can you believe it? It's almost a half an hour. This is insane. Do you mind if we go a few minutes over?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, when do our calls not go over?
Yeah,
I think
that's
we've had
very
maybe
true.
two that didn't.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct on that. I just want to make sure we have a chance to chat about all the things that are going on because they're all so exciting. And P.S. before I do that, well, let's say two things. Number one, once again, if you have questions for Lisa, please add them in the comment box. We're happy to help. Number two, Brogan today, which we can't go that far over because we're going to her production
Yes.
through Elemental Women Productions at 3 p.m. Of Meet Me at Dawn. And it's a virtual production. So she's part of the We Are Women-Owned community. And she was one of my guests on Freelancer Live a few weeks ago. And I'm so thankful to have met so many amazing business owners through this platform. But she owns a company that is all based around like women's works and having women and non-binary individuals as part of the production. And so she's been able to move online by doing a virtual production. And it's so exciting. And Lisa and I both bought tickets immediately after she told us about it.
Yay!
Yay! And Carla's going to.
Carla's going to be there. Wait up 1 second. Brogan, can people still get tickets? Just let us know in the...
Yeah, let us know in the comments if people can still get tickets because they could earlier today. Let's see. Immigrant owners pop up. Carla's asking about. What do you think about that? You never know.
You never know. You never know.
That's like a really good idea, though. Yeah, a lot of people. Okay, yes, and you can buy tickets still for her production.
Awesome. Go check out Brogan's profile or Elemental Women's Productions. That's right?
Sorry, she just put the link. Amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Go check it out.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, thank you. Where can you get tickets? Yeah, so just go to that link that Brogan put in, or you can go to elementalwomenproductions.com. You can buy tickets there, or you can go to Brogan's profile or at Elemental Women Productions on Instagram and click on their link in the bio, and you can get tickets that way as well. Super cool. Okay, so the other thing that we didn't have a chance to talk about yet that I definitely want to make sure we chat about before you leave today is about the sisterhood community. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about how that came to be and why that was so important to you to do, and then how that has sort of happened through this whole time and why that was important to do like now.
Yeah, so, we had been planning this. So actually, I started considering this. Was it last year in February? I don't know where the time goes. It might have been February of 2019. Whoa, I'm totally blanking out here. And I was going back and forth because we had our free community and it was kick-ass, if I may say so myself. But what ended up happening was I was giving so much of myself. And like everywhere I went, I would talk up the community and I would get the most awesome people to join. And I realized, wait a minute, this is something that I'm good at. And I love bringing people together and connecting people and, of course, sharing insights and information and all the good things to help, each of us bring, take our businesses to the next level. It was just taking so much time and energy. And I started to notice just how much people were getting out of it. And so I had a business coach at the time, and she's like, you really need to be charging for this. But me, one of the things that I've dealt with throughout my entire life is guilt. And so, even though we were taking the steps, my business coach was actually helping me build the foundation for this. I freaked out. And then I also had a really rough year mentally and physically last year. So I took a big, back seat to try and take care of myself. But then for this year, I was like, we got to do this. And I had Erin by my side. And so since January, of this year, you and I had been meeting at the wing and, planning to bring this community to life. And then the pandemic hit And we were like, oh my God, I think we had a conversation. I'm like, do we launch this now, even though we're not 100% right?
Yeah.
And guys, I am a Virgo with a lot of planets in Virgo, so ultra perfectionist over here. I was shocked that those words even came out of my mouth. But I was like, the ladies need us, you know, because I was seeing all of these businesses freak out and like, I just want a place for us to all convene and to be able to have these conversations and brainstorm and strategize ways that we can get creative and adapt to the times that we're in. And so we launched the private Facebook community, the paid membership community. And I think the first 3 months were free. And I think because of that, you guys can take a lesson from this if you'd like. You know, I believe when people pay, they pay attention. So like people weren't quite engaging or showing up. I think I was also scarred using Facebook with things that had happened in the past. And I just started attending all these webinars, I think like all of us, because there were so many awesome free webinars going on. And this one woman mentioned Mighty Networks. And I was like, what is that? And I started investigating. And when I decided, I did like a free trial and I was testing it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this platform is much more conducive to like what we're trying to create for our community and to allowing the women to network as seamlessly as possible and in supporting them with like resources and all the good stuff. It's very organized. So we took a chance. And we migrated over, and I'm so happy we did. There's like a little bit of nervousness because it is a new platform. And also Brian and I had been talking about building out our own, my husband's a software engineer, by the way, building out our own membership community on the website, but that would have taken ages. And, you know, he doesn't get paid for any of these things. So he just wants to see the community thrive.
He's just the most supportive husband.
Ridiculous. I don't know how I got so lucky. And Carla's right. You don't get distracted with Facebook pings. There's so many benefits. I could go on and on about it. And they're always updating the platform and really listening to the hosts of each community and what they're looking for. They can't accommodate everything, but they're very on top of it. They have a lot of great education if anyone's interested in that. But it's been great. And we actually discovered that we want to give more than we were initially planning. So every month we do an office hours call where it's a Q&A call where we bring in an industry expert or leader to host, you know, a Q&A. So the members will submit their questions in advance. And we were talking about this recently, how it's so awesome that we're able to utilize our connections, or even like the people we get emailed all the time of people who are brilliant in their areas, who are interested in coming to speak to the community. And otherwise our community wouldn't have access to them. So it's worked out beautifully in that way. So everybody submits their questions in advance, and then, you know, these experts do a little investigating, answer the questions, and you learn so much from everyone's question, which is great. And then we also do our monthly connection calls, which are essentially mini masterminds. So we all come together and connect, obviously, virtually on Zoom. And we just kind of get to know each other, problem solve, brainstorm, celebrate wins, all that sort of good stuff. And then we share the recordings for everything in its own board. So if you can't make it, you know, it's always there for you to access. And then, of course, there's the networking aspect. And one thing that we've been talking about, of course, I'm trying to do like one thing at a time because I have a habit of putting way too much on my plate and I can't even eat it all.
Same.
We want to start hosting lunch and learns where, you know, there's like the educational, like a tutorial of some sort where we walk people through how to do things. I don't want to give everything away because I know there's some members of the community here. But my whole thing the last few months is like, I want to surprise and delight people. So I get so excited sometimes and I reveal all the surprises and secrets at once. So I've been working on like sprinkling it here.
Yeah, slowly letting them out.
But we have some really exciting things happening for the community. And we also have engagement rewards. So the more you engage, you have the opportunity to receive, you know, promotional opportunities on our platforms and consultations with me. And I don't know, I'm really glad that we're doing more than we initially set out to. Then the women are just fantastic. And we have a beautiful like member directory, and you can chat privately with members. And I
Yeah.
feel like already, it's only been a month, women have been, like, you've had a few on your Freelancer Live, and I think people have done a couple giveaways together and have had, you know, people from our community on their lives. So, and it's just the beginning. So I'm excited to see what else happens. But basically, it's just a place for us to connect and support each other, one another, and network and learn new things. And yeah, a place for us to feel supported as women entrepreneurs.
It's awesome. It's incredible. Like, of course, I'm a little bit on the back end of it, but also just like being a business owner and being in the group, so incredible to see the support between all of the women, which, as you were talking about before, and is actually like one of the biggest through lines of every guest I've had on Freelancer Live, is like, find your people, like, and stick with them, because I think that's one of the hardest things about honestly being in any industry, but especially being a business owner where you are, so many are solopreneurs. It's so difficult to feel like you have somebody to bounce ideas off of or to ask questions. And what's really cool is that within the community, there are so many people who are like experts in their area. So we have people who are copywriters, we have people who are social media experts, we have people who are marketing and PR. We have, like, you know, I'm in the entertainment field, and so is Brogan, and like we have people in the clothing industry like Carla, and you, Lisa, because you have a great background in that, and just people who can like actually talk about how to do some of the really difficult things in any of these industries. And all the people in the group are so willing to like share and help, and it's just such a back and forth between everybody of just like supporting each other. It's really, really, really cool to see, and just like makes my day brighter every time that I see people in that community just genuinely wanting to help each other, and also genuinely feeling supported by everyone else. It's a really, really cool thing that you've built, Lisa.
We
really,
need it. We need it. Yeah. And we've also, you know, we're open to allowing people who haven't even started their businesses yet. Are you kidding me? Like, I wish I had something like that when even before I decided to dive in. So it's been a cool experience. And, you know, We Are Women Owned started focused on retail businesses, so product-based businesses, and it's been really cool to see as I've transitioned to services, and how we've welcomed in service-based businesses, how much more powerful it's been. And just, we all have such unique stories and, you know, personality traits and career trajectories and strengths, and it's just amazing what we can do when we come together to truly want to and to actually support one another.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. And I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you, Erin.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. All the people who are here today from We Are Women Owned supporting, thank you for coming. This is amazing.
Thank you.
And I could talk to you for literally ever. We sort of do every week, and I could still talk to you forever. And yes, what Saucy and Webs Design says, we can't be business owners without having support and goals and someone pointing us in the right direction. 100%. It's so helpful. And thank you to Lisa for being that for so many people and for providing that platform for people to connect and feel supported like that.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be that person.
It's so exciting. So we should probably close down right now, give ourselves a little bit of time before we get to see this amazing production in 15 minutes. Yes. But thank you so much for being my guest today, Lisa.
Thank you.
You're amazing. You're so warm. You're so passionate about everything you do. I'm so thankful for our friendship over this past almost year that's really developed into something way more than I ever expected it to be. I'm thankful for the community that you have, and I know so many other women are as well. And if you have questions about the community, about what it's like, or what the membership group is like, or how much it costs, or how to get involved, please, please, please reach out to Lisa. She is the best and happy to help. Or reach out to me too, because I work with Lisa, so you can ask me. But either way, like, we would love to have as many people in the community as possible. It just really helps people feel more and more supported. But thank you again, Lisa. You're amazing.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Do you want to leave anybody with any last thoughts? You don't have to, but, you know, if there's anything you didn't say that you wanted to share.
Putting me on the spot. No, I mean, check out the pop-up if you have a moment. We encourage spreading the word if you're interested. It's all on wearewomenowned.com. Also information about the sisterhood there. We truly love supporting women-owned businesses, so don't be shy. Shoot us an email, shoot us a DM. It's at We Are Women Owned. I just realized I didn't log in through the We Are Women Owned account. I hope that's okay.
That's A-okay. No, it's fine.
But it's at We Are Women Owned on Instagram. And yeah, just reach out to us, spread the word to your women entrepreneur friends.
Yes.
If you find that, you know, this might resonate with them, or if they might be looking for a community. Yeah.
Yay. And I just added in the comments Lisa's handle as well as the We Are Women Owned handle. So you can go ahead and find and follow her there. And thank you again, Lisa, for coming today. Thank you to everybody who joined today. We're so happy to have you. I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. And please remember to join me next week, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next Freelancer Live. Bye, everybody.